Alright, here we go with Tyrell, Kings of Winter. The Tyrell Kings of Winter deck here is like a Lords and Ladies deck with the 6-cost Marjorie. I had a slightly jankier version with the 7-cost Mace Tyrell from the box because I was like, oh, there's synergy there because you can play the Withering Cold and then he can stand your guys back up with his ability. And he is still sort of useful, but it just really didn't feel consistent enough. He's not that great if you can't get like a wide board to make it more likely that he does have something useful to target with his ability. And the economy situation in Kings of Winter does prevent you from really flooding as much as you need to make good use of him, I felt like. Like his passive power gain can also still be good, but you have to actually have gold to pay for it now because you can't do the high tower. And we just don't really have enough money. We don't really have enough money for this deck either, but I'm not sure what other options you have as Tyrell at the moment for a Kings of Winter deck. Tyrell's low curve is definitely not strong enough to do very much. You will need to rely on large renowned characters like Marjorie and Renly to win. So yeah, this is a pretty straightforward Tyrell Lords and Ladies deck. I do think this 6-cost Marjorie is pretty damn good at the moment because Greyjoy and Targaryen. This card is pretty good against Valar Morghulis, so good against Greyjoy. Although they probably just use, We Do Not Sow to discard her bodyguard or something really dumb like that. But theoretically, she's good against Valar Morghulis. And she's good against Targaryen because they like to play really aggressively and like try to do military challenges with Khal Drogo and stuff like that. And if she's on the field, then she just kind of stops that game plan dead in its tracks. Because if you declare a military, then you get... if the opponent declares a military while you have her out, you just get a Renly into play for free, or a Randall Tarly or something. And then they feel like an idiot. And this is assuming she doesn't get like milk put on her, but milk is actually not super common in Greyjoy or Targ decks at the moment. I actually have not had her milked that often that I can remember, so hopefully she can be protected. And let's see, the plots here. We've got False Spring, First Snow, because we have a bunch of expensive stuff, some ambush stuff, and Flea Bottom. Winter Reserves, and Ranger's Cache, and the last one is the Withering Cold. Obviously, this is the most questionable plot choice. I don't know that there's really enough like synergy to justify it, but the reason that I have the Withering Cold is our deck is a defensive deck, or rather, you end up playing defensively as this deck most of the time, I've found. You are slower than other decks, but can sort of overwhelm them with like a large board of big characters and like using Old Town every turn and stuff like that, if you can stay alive long enough. And the Withering Cold is a very defensive plot. It encourages people to not do stuff and punishes them if they do stuff. So I've been fairly satisfied with it. And if it's not this, then what is it, like Winter Festival? I don't know how I feel about that. It's been pretty good so far. Valar is pretty obvious. We have Lady-in-Waiting and Bodyguard and Marjorie. And the King in the North, also pretty self-explanatory. Not too many character or location choices that I think need explaining. It's all pretty much what you would expect. This Growing Strong, I really need to go ahead and change this over to Milk of the Poppy. I think Milk is better than this at the moment. But I'm going to play one game with the Growing Strong here and see what happens, and maybe use Milk in the next game that I show. The new chapter pack is mostly implemented on the Iron Throne, which is handy, but the Arbor Marketplace is not listed on ThronesDB for some reason. So I've replaced Red Wine Straits in the Arbor with Arbor Marketplace in my deck list on the Iron Throne, but I can't show it here in the deck builder. That's kind of annoying, I guess. So yeah, let's get into a game. Hopefully I can get something worth showing. First game that I tried to record, I went up against Stark Crossing that like set up Great John Umber, and then Marshall duped Eddard and had a superior claim on the first turn. So he just like won on turn 2 with Force March. Extremely boring, nothing that I could do, so I'm not showing that. Crossing is probably, I'd say, in my top 5 least favorite type of decks to play against, or just see in general. It's only slightly below Targaryen Burn and, what is the deck called? Free Folk. It's basically like a Free Folk deck. It's just less consistent in terms of cheesing you out than Free Folk. And instead of winning by deleting all of your cards out of the game, they win by getting to 15 extremely fast before you can play. But still a cheese deck overall. Night's Watch Reigns. Well, I think I have to keep my setup. Yeah, it's pretty good setup. Set up like Horace and 2 economy and a little reducer. Hopefully the Queen of Thorns can do some work against this Reigns deck, but yeah, he's got this guy, and this guy is the problem. This is another time where another reason out of many why I would like to have Milk in my deck. Putting Milk on this guy could decide the game in my favor. We do have Old Town Informers to jump in and hopefully prevent the agenda trigger. The big threat against Night's Watch Reigns of Castamere is that he'll reveal the Red Wedding and kill my important characters. So basically my game plan is to get a big important character into play and then protect it from the Red Wedding. And fortunately the Queen of Thorns will have 2 duplicates if I marshal her, so that's actually pretty damn good. Probably bring her out. That may even dissuade the opponent from declaring any challenges because he'll want to try and defend against her intrigue and prevent her from triggering. Although I guess he could just attack on intrigue and then kneel her with filthy accusations, huh? Val, that's interesting. So it is a, what would you say, Reigns of Castamere Wildlings deck. Well, since he marshaled Val, what I'm going to do is bring out the Queen of Thorns. Give her 1,000,000 saves. Do I give her a bodyguard or save for an Old Town Informer? Don't know that it matters. I guess I'll save for an Old Town Informer. This way I have a dupe to eat Military Claim and another dupe for when I do Valar Morghulis next turn. And actually, even if he kneels her with his agenda, Horace Redwine's ability can stand her up, so that's nice. This way maybe I get to put an Old Town Informer into play with the ability. Not super relevant, but it's something, I guess. I think we can actually make a hot play with Arbor Marketplace here, because he's declaring with 7. We can ambush with 2. And then buffing up to 3. And prevent the agenda trigger. Get wrecked. Darn, got my save. But not sure what was actually like the best card to keep out of these. I guess the Renly's the best one to have around. And I do have a reducer, so I guess I don't even have to use a dupe for Military Claim. We'll probably just try to keep the dupes stacked up on Queen of Thorns. Does go for the military. I don't think he should declare this, but he does get to stand John again, so probably not the biggest deal ever. Does not stealth my Horace Redwine. Okay, well I'm not going to waste the ability by defending it. Maybe he has put to the torch. Oh wow, he actually had put to the torch. Well, that's pretty frustrating. He got me. Now I would expect him to maybe pass, although I guess he could do a power challenge with Val, since John is enough to block the Queen of Thorns. Yep, just passes. So we're going to do power. Horus will do military, and the Queen of Thorns will do intrigue. Maybe we can bait him into defending this power with Jon, but I highly doubt it. It's pretty much guaranteed that he will use Jon Snow to defend the Queen of Thorns intrigue challenge. Which is fine. I don't know if I would even use the ability to put this into play, knowing that I'm probably going to do Valar Morghulis next turn. So, kind of just using the ability to bluff, I guess. Okay, so I may regret revealing Valar Morghulis here because he might just play, what is that plot? Here to serve and save Jon with Maester Aemon. And that wouldn't be great. But if we flip Morghulis and it actually kills Jon Snow, that could be game winning. And even if he brings out Aemon, we still kill Aemon, Satin, and Val, which are all really good things to have dead. Alternatively, we could reveal False Spring and try to wait a turn on the Valar Morghulis. I don't know. Because I do like having Horus around with the Queen of Thorns. But I'm going to feel pretty sketchy about marshalling Renly without a save, because he is then going to be very vulnerable to the Red Wedding. I am really not sure about this. I also am going to go for False Spring and try and hold off on Morghulis for a turn. Damn, didn't do the Here to Serve, so Morghulis would have been the play. But if he didn't reveal Here to Serve here, then it means he probably doesn't have it in his deck. I think if he had it in his plot deck, he would have revealed it here. So hopefully he does not draw a duplicate and we can reveal Valar Morghulis next turn if we really want to. This is frustrating because there's a high chance that he'll get Milk or Craven off of this exchange to put on Queen of Thorns. Come on, dude. This guy's taking a while to hit pass on his action windows. Not sure what the deal is. Or I guess on the initiative here. Yep, there's the Craven. Sad time. So I guess I can give him a Practice Blade. That's nice of him. I guess I give him Rattleshirts Raiders. I don't think I care about those. Scaling the Wall. Or the Watch Has Need. I guess Scaling the Wall? Actually mildly annoying if he uses Scaling the Wall on my Arbor Marketplace. I might should have given him the Watch Has Need there. Come on, dude, pick some cards. Oh, he had 2 Scalings anyways. I don't know that I care about Varus. Let's just take one of these, I suppose. A little bit weird that he has Varus in his deck. I'm not sure what that would ever really do for him. If he wants to Varus away the most important character in his deck by a huge margin, then I am totally fine with him doing that. I mean, I guess it is a stealth intrigue icon, but still. You'd be better off using like Cotter Pike or something instead of Varus if that's what you want. So I have Marjorie, but my lords are too expensive to marshal alongside her. And if I marshal her without protection, there is a high likelihood that she gets murdered by the Red Wedding, so we have to be careful about doing that. I may want to like marshal Renly just because he's a big intrigue icon and hope that I just have enough strength to block the agenda trigger. Then if he doesn't get murdered, we can do King of the North the next turn, and that's really good. Shadows card, huh? Probably a Pinch of Powder. Could be Janos Slint. Pinch of Powder is pretty bad. But I'm definitely not going to marshal the Old Town Informer, so I guess let's go for Renly. I think it is the most reasonable option. We don't have gold for a Pinch of Powder if that's what it is, so that's reassuring. So if he stealths Renly, we can still defend with 7. He can attack with like 8, 12, and then more with his whatever he puts in with Val, which I guess could be a Rattleshirts Raiders. So let's say it's Rattleshirts Raiders because that's what we gave him with exchange. 7 plus 8 is 15. We can then defend with 7 here, 2 more from hand, making it 9, and Arbor Marketplace would make it 10, so exactly not enough. But if he attacks with 15 and commits his entire board except for Jon Snow, I don't know. I think he actually can kill Renly this way, and there's nothing we can do about it if he does it correctly. Because then Jon Snow can do like a stealth power or military. Guess it would have to be stealth military, stealth Renly, and Hora's Red Wine would not be powerful enough to defend. That really sucks, but what can you do? I think there's literally nothing that I could do besides just not marshaling any of my big characters. And since I do have 2 more big characters I'm going to want to marshal anyways going forwards, even if Renly dies, we might as well just do it. Okay, well I think he screwed up. I mean, I understand why he's trying to do it this way because he doesn't know that I have another Old Town Informer sitting in my hand, but we should be able to block the agenda here. 8 is definitely not enough. And we can even screw him twice as hard because we can actually just win the challenge on defense, I think. So he declared with 8. Yeah, let's just defend it fully. I don't exactly want to lose either one of these for intrigue claim. And then Horace is available to stand the Queen of Thorns. Oh, okay. Well then, that's nice. I'd forgot that her ability was there. I'm not sure that that was even the right character to put in. I think I may have preferred to put in Randall Tarley. But this is still pretty damn good. Still pretty damn good, because now, like, if he does Valor Magulis, Marjorie actually dies. And that's not ideal. But if he does Valar, I'll still have the Queen of Thorns and Randall. So he's still not in a great spot if he wants to do that. That worked out pretty damn well. If I really want to be cheeky, I can use the Queen of Thorns again when I do my intrigue challenge by standing her with Horus and put Randall Tarley into play. And then I'll just have all the big characters. But I probably won't do that, probably an overcommitment, given that this is the last card remaining in my hand. Yeah, just pass. Don't blame him for that. So we're going to do military with Renly so that he will lose and have to kill Satin, which is really good to get rid of because Satin is another Jon Snow. Hopefully we can draw 2 off Renly here, but even getting the single insight is really nice, given how small our hand has gotten. Next plot on our side could be King in the North, but I think there's a reasonable chance that he does Valar Morghulis, in which case I don't want to do King in the North. So I think I'll go for Ranger's Cache. We're still way ahead on board. Like, if he doesn't Valar, I think my board is big enough that I just feel fairly safe. So I think it is better to go for the safer up play of Ranger's Cache. Come on, Insight. Give me something loyal. Darn. Oh well. He killed Val. Okay. I mean, I guess I'm fine with that. Oh, maybe he changed his mind. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. No problem. Then we're going to do this. This is just to get a renown on Marjorie, really, and the intrigue claim. I'm not going to use the Queen of Thorns ability again. Would have been nice if I could have drawn, like, Scheming Septon or something with Renly, and then I could put that in with Queen of Thorns. Why would he not defend? Okay. I guess another misclick. That's fine. I'll let him have that. Maybe he's lagging. Playing with touchscreen, huh? Got the other scaling the wall. I guess we're safe from that event now. And he's packing a lot of location hate over there. I think I'm in a pretty good spot to win the game now, because he's kind of between a rock and a hard place. If he doesn't do Valar Morghulis, my board is just way too big. And if he does do Valar Morghulis, he's killing his Jon Snow. And it's like, how does this deck actually win without Jon Snow? Yeah, it looks like he either doesn't have Valar or he does not think it's worthwhile. Reduces power claim, okay. I guess he has some type of claim soak that he's going to bring out here. Oh, man. Drew a dupe. That's very nice because now I can put that on Marjorie and then I'll have an extremely strong Valar Morghulis whenever I want to use that plot. But there's a high chance that I'll just never need to reveal it because I got so much of my good stuff out so quickly. Queen of Thorns, Renly, and Marjorie on turn 2 is pretty damn good. There's the Craven. Frustrating, but she did her job at this point. And I guess this is a good situation for him to have Varys, huh? Since he also has a dupe on Jon. But since I also have dupes, it's not a big deal, really. Not going to marshal anything because he marshaled Varys. The goal here is just to prevent him from taking a duplicate off of one of my guys with the Red Wedding. That's all I'm going for. So the King of the North actually would have been really good here because he marshaled Varys. But I think it's still going to be okay at the end of the day. It's burning a duplicate off his Jon by triggering Varys, so we can still kill Jon later in the game if we want with Valar Morghulis. So now if he does Intrigue, he can attack with like 6, 10, 3 more with a Rattleshirts Raiders, and then 3 with Varys, so like 16, and Stealth, Marge, and Queen of Thorns. And I think I can defend with exactly 11 using, or I guess it'll be less because he would Stealth Renly. So he might be able to get me with that. But since he has to commit his whole board to doing that, I don't know if he could then win another challenge to actually use the effect on the Red Wedding. I guess he could do another stealth military with Jon Snow. That would be frustrating. Sadly, we do not have the third Old Town Informer to pop in and save us. Now, why would he do this? Is there something I don't know about here? Doesn't even put anything with Val. I mean, that makes sense because he has now chosen not to trigger his agenda. Strength 13, I can defend with... I think he's going to let me defend with 14. Maybe he forgot about the Arbor Marketplace. Yep. I would say that is a misplay from our opponent, no matter how you slice it. He must have forgotten about the Arbor Marketplace. So that would have still made some amount of sense if he had Stealth Renly so that I couldn't win it on defense. Because he'd be committing to just like not using his Red Wedding yet and saving it for a later turn, which I wouldn't disagree with. And he'd just be like doing a big intrigue that I don't want to commit my Renly or Marge when I can't win it on defense. But he screwed up. Doesn't matter. Let's do... Oh, she has Craven. That's annoying. Well, this is just going to be like intrigue here, military, and then power with Marge. If we didn't have this Craven in the way, we could like put in Mullendor and then try to get something in with Mullendor's effect before Varys goes off. Maybe that could have been a nice cheeky little play, but didn't end up mattering. Forgot to stand my Marge there. And by forgot I mean I misclicked. He had a couple misclicks, so I'm going to take one. Getting this additional power challenge to go up to... I mean, this gets me like 3 more power with the Renown. Actually pretty important, because it puts me within range of like winning in the next turn or two. I think I'm going to take the +3 gold off my Ranger's cash because the Varus dissuaded me from marshalling anything this turn. That way I can kind of make up for it next turn, play as much of this stuff in my hand out as I can to reestablish a board after this Varus. Hopefully I can draw more saves. I think it has to be the first snow of winter. I don't want to play Withering Cold into Jon Snow that stands himself, so... And my king got discarded. What did he flip? This? That's pretty good, because that's not a very high gold plot, so... First snow increases the chance that he can't marshal anything. Made me first player, not sure that I agree with that. I guess if I... This way when I marshal Randall, maybe he has another Craven he can put on him. That would make sense. Okay, so I have enough money. It is good that I took the +3 off the Ranger's cash. It gives me enough money to put out Randall and Mullendor and have a gold left for Growing Strong, which is really good. Very strong sort of counterplay after the Varus here. I think he's pretty dead. Might even be able to just win this turn. Yeah, because Jon's just going to die, I think. I don't think there's anything he can do. Let's try to kill Jon. Should not need to use Mullendor to do this, but let's just better be safe than sorry. Because if Jon dies, then we can get the other 2 challenges guaranteed with these guys. Yep, that's game. So not flipping the turn 2 Valar Morghulis did end up working out in our favor. That was good. If I had decided to Valar on turn 2, maybe this would have gone worse for me and I would not have ended up winning the way that I did. Ended up winning pretty handily. I think it's always good to hold back on resets, especially early in the game, if you can like get away with it. If you think there's another viable line of play, it's usually better to try and save them. Unless you think it's like literally the only chance that you have. And I was not that far enough behind to where I felt like I needed to go for that yet. Pretty good game. We got to show our deck doing some pretty powerful stuff. Did the big Tyrell guys. They all came out and overwhelmed the opponent. And it was not a crossing or free folk or like Targ burn. None of that bullshit. Fairly honest game. So it was worth showing, I would say.